Yo, what's happening, people? Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about something because I saw this video the other day. Guy called Jordan Howlett, Jordan the Stallion, Jordan the Stallion, Jordan Howlett. If you know, he's a popular YouTuber or popular Instagrammer. He's a popular content creator. But anyway, the point is that he put out a video where one of the things he mentioned in that video was that there's a difference between having the ability to follow a recipe and actually being able to cook. And I want to speak to that. Because that is so true. Like, you gotta know how true this is. There is a difference between being able to follow a recipe and being able to cook. Now, here's the thing, real quick. Let me be clear. If all you can do is follow a recipe, if that's all you can do, if that's where you are right now, I ain't mad at you. It's a good skill to have, being able to follow a recipe, but it's not cooking. And you need to learn how to cook. It is important. It is a life skill. I'm going to try and explain why, but before I do, because there are people who can follow a recipe, cool, but you need to learn how to cook. Further to that, there are people who can do what's called meal prepping, like people who are a bit more, say, health conscious. They can do what's called meal prepping, where you put together some foods, put it in a jar or a container, and you maybe prepare 5, 6, 7 of these for the week, or maybe more, depending on how many you need. And you put them in the fridge, put them in the cupboard, wherever you need to keep them. And you do that so you can have something throughout the week to eat, something with a high nutritional value to eat throughout the week, and it's just kind of ready and there, and you just make it when you make bunch of when you have time, and just have it and then have one a day or two a day, whatever it is, throughout the week. And that's a good thing to do, right? That's a good thing to do, because again, if you using nutritionally high foods with high nutritional value, then it's going to be good for you, right? It's healthy for you, right? And it's a good thing to do, especially if you live alone, if you just don't really have a lot of time, and it's just there and it's ready for you. It's a good thing to do, but it is not cooking. And you still need to learn how to cook, because it's not just about being healthy physically, it's about being healthy mentally, right? And being able to cook is good for your health mentally. But before I explain that in a bit more detail, let me just say this as well. There's people who can not so much meal prep, right? But they can put stuff together. They can go into a kitchen and they can put a few things together. They could, you got a little bit of that, a little bit of that. You're not always eating well, right? But you're eating. You know what I mean? You can survive. You can take care of yourself. Like, you can get to the next day and to the next week by just putting stuff together. You can do that. And if that's where you are, I ain't mad at it. It's a good thing to be able to take care of yourself. But it's not cooking, and you need to be able to cook because it's good for your health. Well, depending on what you're cooking, but it's more specifically, it's good for your mental health. There's certain things that are just good for your mental health, and cooking is one of them. Because I ain't talking about just heating up food. I'm not talking about throwing stuff in a pot and just heating it up. I'm talking about actually cooking, like making something, like getting creative with it. That ability to be able to do something. I ain't say you gotta be some kind of master chef. You don't need to be able to throw down in the kitchen or whatever, but you just need to be able to cook, in my opinion, at least 3 different dishes. That way you got some variety. Now, there are people out there who can go into a kitchen and they will see, maybe you got some rice, maybe you got some pasta, maybe you got some eggs, maybe you got some fish, maybe some meat. You'll see a few different things, and they will see that, and they will stand there and, in all honesty, proclaim, "There's nothing to eat." Now, if that's you, you're a waste man. It's gotta be said, you're a waste man. Listen, if you're an adult, if you're a child doing that, I'll allow it. But if you're an adult, if you're a fully fledged adult in this world, and you can walk into a kitchen and see different food items and honestly proclaim that there is nothing to eat, you're a waste man, and you need to do better. That is not okay. At the very least, you need to be able to put something together. It's not cooking, but at the very least, you need to be able to know how to put something together. But like I said before, cooking is just good for your mental health. You know, and depending on what you're cooking, it could be good for your physical health as well, because being healthy isn't just about having the right nutritional value, because that's important, of course. I ain't saying that, but just the ability to cook, to express yourself in some kind of creative way in the kitchen and doing that. Because there's certain foods in particular that are just good for your mental health, like high fat foods, high sugar foods are good for your mental health. And I know people out there, but you can't eat it every day because you get. I know, as I said, good for your mental health. Balance is key. Yeah, balance is key. I'm not saying stuff yourself with donuts 5 times a day. Balance is key. But cooking specifically is just good for your mental health. The act of cooking, being in the kitchen, putting stuff together, deciding what you want to do, knowing like, okay, I don't have this, but I've got that. Maybe I can try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that, and just being creative with the meals that you're doing. And if you can do at least, really, at least one meal. If you can cook at least one meal, that's something. But in my opinion, I feel like you need to be able to cook at least 3 meals and just get creative with it, because it's so good for your mental health. And depending on what you're cooking, it can be good for your physical health too. But yeah, you need to learn how to cook. Like there are people who could, go into the kitchen and they'll see like, you just got eggs and rice, for example, like just eggs and rice. Or actually, let me go in deeper than that. There's people who go into the kitchen and you just got egg and bread. That's all you got, egg and bread, right? And again, there's going to be the people who are like, I got nothing to eat. Waste man. You're a waste man. And there's going to be the people who could just put something together. Whether it's meal prepping or just being able to put some egg and bread together, they can do that. But there are people who can see just from egg and bread, or I don't know. Listen, I don't know what the magic behind. I don't know what the Jedi magic behind it is. But there are people who can just take the smallest, seemingly insignificant, or just the smallest amounts of items, just go into the kitchen and have barely anything, and still make banquets. They can just pull out banquets. You come back like an hour later, and it's just there's a whole spread, and you're like, where did this? There are people who can do that. I've seen it. And that, if you're on that level, then that is like Master Chef level. Like people like that, you don't necessarily see them on the TV, with their own TV show. More time, they don't even have like a YouTube channel, but they're just doing it for themselves or for their families, but people like that exist, and I've seen it. People like that are a treasure, look, I ain't saying you gotta be on that level. If you are, that's awesome, right? But you don't gotta be on that level, but at the very least, you need to know how to cook. You need to know how to cook something, because it's just good for you, for your mental health. What was I gonna say again? Yeah, because it's like people who can just like proper just throw down, man. It's just amazing. Like if you've ever been in a situation where you've kind of gone into the kitchen and just seen a few things, and somebody's kind of gone in there and been like, it's incredible, man. I don't know how they do it, because I ain't on that level. But yeah, it's incredible. But here's the thing though, and yeah, this is what I wanted to say as well, is that because some of you might live with somebody who can cook well, and they love to cook, and they love to do it every day, and they have absolutely no problem cooking for you on a daily basis or on a regular basis. And because of that, you might be tempted to not, bother so much yourself. But even in that situation, if you've got somebody cooking for you on a regular basis, you still need to learn how to cook just for yourself. You need to learn how to cook, because they're not going to be there all the time, right? One day, you're not going to be living with them for one reason or another. And just for yourself, you need to learn how to cook. And I get it. When you're in that situation, it's very easy to be like, oh, let me just do what I'm doing, and they'll do it, and they'll take care of that. But even still, you need to learn how to cook. Whether you're rich or you poor, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you live with somebody who cooks for you or you don't, whether you're doing meal prepping or whatever, that's a good place to start, because we all gotta start somewhere. If you can follow a recipe, it's a good place to start. If you can meal prep, if you can put stuff together, it's a good place to start. We all gotta start somewhere, but you need to learn how to cook. It is important for your health, for your mental health especially. And yeah, I say depending on what you're cooking, physical health too. But, more important, specifically, I want to say it's just good for your mental health. That being in the kitchen and just being creative with foods, being creative in general is good for your mental health. But you know, something like with foods and just experimenting and trying different things. And you know what? It's not always going to taste good when you start experimenting, when you're trying different things. It's not always going to taste good. It's not always going to come out well. But that's not the point. It's just that being creative and being in the kitchen and trying different things and learning about how different things work. And because you tried this and it didn't work, now you know that doesn't work, you could try something else. That whole thing of doing that on a regular basis is good for your mental health. So yes, further to what Jordan the Stallion was saying, that, you know, there's a difference between following a recipe and being able to cook. I just wanted to say, yes, that is true. But more importantly, you need to learn how to cook because it's good for your mental health. So yeah, it's a good place to start where you can follow recipes. Good place to start where you can put stuff together or meal prep, but you still need to learn how to cook. And if you can't even do meal prepping, if you can't even put stuff together, if you're the there's nothing to eat, if you're the waste man, then you need to do better. You need to do better because that's not okay. That's not okay. But anyway, that's it for me for now. So until whenever, if ever, peace.